Hey everyone, it's Zach from Zach's Hobbies. Before we give you the update on the tuna purse signer, I thought I would start with showing you something that is just an incredible find, and I'm really excited to talk about. So, if you've been following model boats and things of that nature, you probably come to the news that Dumas, unfortunately, is officially going to be closing. I believe the May 15th is going to be the last day final operations. So with that being said, this is the American Beauty. This is one that I was not planning to really talk about until way down the road. However, with the closing of Dumas, I've sort of had to get the ones that are really hard to find anywhere other than Dumas right away. And unfortunately, they don't have any more in stock. So what makes this so exciting to talk about is this one here I came across on a wonderful website called Old Model Kits, and I'll post a link in the description below so you can check out their website. I want to give a shout out to the owner, Ellen, who, from what I understand, takes these kits and they basically are some are used, some are brand new, some have basically been never opened except for making sure everything is there. And the thing that's very exciting to me about this is this particular kit does not come with doesn't come with the running hardware, doesn't come with the motors or the fitting details. Everything has to be, the extras have to be bought later. So long story short, reached out and asked if this was still available, and it happened to be. So I was able to get this one, and what I just wanted to show you before we get into the main portion of the video is just how incredible this is. This kit has never been touched other than being inventoried. The thing that is really exciting about this is the fact that the kit from Dumas does not include anymore the decals when they were available. And they also have, on the newer ones of this kit, the quart nozzles later came in a plastic resin. The earlier models came with the aluminum casting. I'm not going to show you that right now because that's another video. But what I wanted to show you is just how incredible everything is, and just the attention to care and just everything. I just want to give a shout out to Old Model Kits. So if any of you are out there trying to find some kits that are just absolutely impossible and extremely rare to find, definitely check Alan out. Great seller and great experience, great communication, hands down. Just really good seller. So that's where I'm going to leave that with that. We will eventually do a build on this, but for now, we're going to leave it in the box, and we'll eventually get to this one. But I just want to show you that because, as you can tell, this is pretty much everything brand new. So, all right, finally going to the main portion of this video. So we're going to head over here and talk about what we've done since our last video. And as you can see, there's more details than we had last time. The tower's done, the derricks are done. I've even done the winch, all of the rigging, and still need to do a rigging here, which is not really part of the instructions, but I just think it's better. And then we'll also talk about the lifeboats still need to be painted. Not having a good time finding the exact color I want. I either find just regular gloss orange, or right down the street at my Meijer, they have a sienna like brown, kind of orange. But I really want something more that's like the Coast Guard official orange. So we'll see. But what I basically did was made these little cradles and just makes it sit nicer so it doesn't just wobble around. And my hope is to eventually make my own davits. Unfortunately, I can't. So the scale of this ship is about 172. Unfortunately, it's very hard to find every single detail I want for this ship in that scale. So I might have to just make up some of my own. But for now, I'm happy with how that is. So first thing I want to talk about is this boom. So as I kind of talked about in my last video, and if I didn't, I apologize. It's been a while, so we'll catch up. But this was all done from scratch. The instructions suggest using the block in the kit, but a lot of people, like before I've mentioned that that's top, makes it very top heavy. So what I basically did was just kind of built it up from scratch, kind of followed the template of the instructions, and it's all hollow in here. It's held together by basically I have strainers all up through here that are an extra structure support, but the result is a very nice light piece that barely, weighs anything. And then the same thing with the lookout here. Same concept. I used just really thin, probably say 1/16, 1/8, and just so sort of did the same kind of concept. And then you got the mast. The biggest challenge for me, and again, you may have no issue with this, but for me, this was the biggest challenge, was trying to make sure that my slots were nice and clean. So what I basically did was, everybody's different, but what I basically did was I took thumbtacks and I cut just the metal part off so that it gave me a nice clean little rod, and basically used that to hold the little piece in there to the boom. And what you can do, what I did is for these for the boom mounts, I used the end of popsicle sticks. And then down here was a little bit different. Down here I actually had to use something thicker, so that, but at least for these ones, that's what I did. And then I painted it. The rigging was pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. I think if you've done rigging before, you won't have any trouble. The only thing that I did, which, to help keep the lines tensioned good, is I glued them on the ends, just to kind of keep the tension there. This one obviously is, I guess that's the next point of topic is, if you're planning to make this a RC powered, I would recommend doing the loop knots for these cables here, so that way you can get access to your ship whenever you need to get to it. And these just loop right on here. The reason they're not on right now is because so I've only taken it out once, and she did great, but I don't know where the leak is. I don't even know if it's a leak. I guess I shouldn't jump to conclusions even saying it's a leak. It might just be, my theory is that somehow water is finding its way through here, or because it was mostly in here. So, and I don't think it's from the stuffing box. I think it's got to be somewhere in there. But if anybody has any idea what it could be, let me know. Still trying to figure out where exactly that is coming from, but it runs. One thing that and maybe it's just how I built mine, so don't necessarily take my word for it, but one of the things, see if I can get this off. hopefully. We'll look at the inside layer. This horn here seems to have an intrusion with these bottom pockets. So I've had to be very careful with my rudder steering. I can use the rudder, but if I try to force a hard to starboard or hard to port, it gets sometimes jammed. So it's just something maybe a smaller servo horn might have fixed that. I just went with what Dumas included, but I just want to let you know that's something that I've found. Apologize, I'm getting over a cold here, so I guess from here I'll kind of talk about the deck detail or the roof detail. So all of this was these rods were included in the kit, along with your horn and the searchlight, the gyroscope, and the wind meter horn or knob. So that was from Harbor Models, and I just added those on there because a lot of these in real life had a lot of details on the roof. I did go back and forth if I wanted to do a helipad on the top, but I guess I'm guilty of being lazy in that department, but I overall think it still looks good. And then going up here, I'm going to add another one of these over here. I was more of just trying to get one to see if it would be scale enough. It is still a little bit large, but I think it'll look good once I get everything. I'd like to do the chain and maybe some other stuff, but there's a lot of room to play with on the deck as far as that's concerned. I think now I'd like to kind of go and show you everything we've done on the inside slats. So well, yeah, we'll get there. So let me see how we're gonna do this, because everything is kind of, might have to set the phone down. I apologize. I am not a expert in the filming department, but basically we'll set this. Everybody has a different setup, but what I did here was I have my receiver here, and I have Velcro on the back of this, and I'll explain later why. And then what I'd like to do now, if I can, is last time we talked, and I know it was a while. I'll explain a lot of why later. Ended up keeping it nice and straight, like mentioned in the last video. Somebody had mentioned that, you know, it's just better, and exactly right. There's no issue with alignment now, the reduction gears, and then back here we have the servo, and then so there's a lot of room. And then what I wanted to show you is for ballast. My ship takes about 10 pounds of ballast, and I have 5 of these, and kind of sort of just lay them in there. They don't move around, so that's the nice thing about them. But those are diver weights, you know, just like what they put in their suits and whatnot. Those work really good. And I ended up, I know last time I mentioned I was going to run with 2 of these, but it just, when I was doing the ballast testing and everything, it seemed to sit better in the water with just one. So we run on just one. And if any of you are, you know, real experts at, you know, this electronic area, I don't know why I am right now getting about, at best, a half an hour of runtime. I don't know if it's because I'm running 6 volt instead of you know, a higher voltage. But if you can maybe in the comments below give me any tips of maybe why, that would really be greatly appreciated. Other than that, I have pretty much nothing else than what I showed before, so we'll get this back on, and bear with me here while I do this real quick. It is a little bit easier when you're not trying to film. And like I said, I think definitely going forward I'm going to have to get a like a tripod or something so I can do this while filming. But so that's kind of sums that up there. But so I'm kind of talking about, oh, I apologize. There was one thing that I wanted to talk about before I put this back on. So I know I mentioned before about the lighting, and you can see there, I think I have a short somewhere in this terminal block. I have my LEDs coming through there, and the wires then out through here, and then I have a switch from there. When I was connecting it up to a AA battery system, I don't know, and I'm not an electrician, so this is all new to me. So, you know, I'm going to be the first to admit that when it comes to this stuff, I am very beginner level. But I decided not to do the lighting, as unfortunate as it is, because I was running into frying the battery boxes, the AA batteries. Not the batteries themselves, but the battery holders it was causing the battery holder to overheat, and then it was getting really hot. So I think I have a short. From what I've read, I think one of those wires is short. So, you know, I would love to get it figured out, because back here I have a switch that was made to be easy access to it. And that's sort of why everything is kind of hard to take off, because my whole point was, and that's, I have the switch right for the ESC right there. The main reason why everything is kind of not really super friendly to remove is my main goal was to, once I lay the ballast in there and everything, I could set it right in the water, don't have to, you know, turn anything on. I could turn everything on right from here. So, but I made it Velcro, so that way if I need to work down in the motor or area or anything, I can still get to it for maintenance or whatnot. So I don't know. I got it to work, and I got some pictures at least of it working, but unfortunately I don't know. I think going forward, when it comes to that stuff, I'm just gonna just get stuff that's already pre-wired and everything. But if any of you can maybe help me figure out if it's a short or if it's something else completely, definitely let me know. So I think from there, that's pretty much everything. The only thing that I want, I mean, these are never really done, but as far as, you know, where I want to, you know, leave before I start on the next model is I want to get these painted, and then I want to get I want to see if I can at least figure out if maybe water is just coming in from the stern here, from the open area. Like mentioned in the last video, I want to get some nice insulation here. May help. I still got to stain the stand, and I got to still get the name and everything. But as far as everything else, it's been a very challenging but rewarding build. The only thing that I think that I could really say is just really look at the videos out there that I've posted about this, and also there's some good threads on RC groups, and I don't necessarily think that it's a difficult kit as far as, you know, the instructions and everything goes. I think just what makes it difficult is you're working with really old sheets, old cuts. Things don't fit necessarily perfect together, so you got to do a lot of your own fine tuning of the parts. I still think I'll maybe detail the funnel a little bit more, but and I mentioned the last video, maybe I didn't. It's been a while. It's been so long that I thought about a sound module, but there's no sound modules that really I think would fit the scale of this diesel. The real ones were powered by an EMD, and those are more of a locomotive sound. So it's hard to find, you know, anything out there that quite fits that. So I don't know even if I'll do a smoke machine in this one or not, but maybe I will. We'll see. So I still want to put like a little console in here with a steering wheel and maybe a few more details. But I think other than that, I think for the most part, she's pretty much done. She's pretty much finished. So I think now it just comes down to just the extra things I want to add on. So I hope that this build has helped any of you who are thinking about buying one of these. I do recommend that you definitely should reach out to Dumas and see if any of these are still available. As of right now, it shows they still have these in stock, but again, I don't know. I do know that they've been flooded with orders the last couple weeks, so it's just maybe the things haven't been updated on the website. So, but if you can get your hands on one of these, definitely, you know, just take your time, make sure that you're reading the instructions good. Sometimes even if you gotta go back and reread something, make sure it makes sense. And so that's where these videos, I hope, really become beneficial for people, because besides the group threads that I've read and stuff, there wasn't anybody other than a few that had a finished model of this, but not a build along. So I'm proud of it. It's definitely it's a very rewarding finished model. She has definitely made me a more experienced modeler building it, but I think that that's what makes these fun. It's the building experience that you get out of it. So from here, I just want to say I appreciate it if you've still stuck around with me this long. I appreciate it. A lot's happened since the last 3 years of the last video. My wife and I had our second. God has been so good. I unfortunately had a layoff, and you know the economy's been tough. So if you're hanging on, you hang in there. Happily employed, doing what I love doing again, and so we'll definitely, hopefully, be putting out more videos more frequently than 3 years. But I just want to thank you for your patience, and I love the support I've got already from this channel. I know it's a very small channel, but the community I've already seen from just creating this channel has really made me happy in why I do it. So I hope I've at least inspired some of you today. If you're feeling down or whatever, hang in there. God is good, and just, you know, keep your head up. And if you need anything, feel free, you know, put in the comments. I always read the comments. I always try my best to make sure that everybody here feels included. So I think that's about it for this video. And before I go, the next video will be on the Dumas Jolly J, which is actually going to be the Poppy Ray after our youngest. And this one will be the FV Isabella. And my freighter is also named after our oldest, Isabella Grace. So we'll eventually we'll get these ships christened and all that fun stuff. So, but until next time, thanks for everything, and yeah, we'll talk again soon. Thanks.